Hello, and welcome to the Right Hand Podcast. This is where we believe that great law firms aren't built by accident. They're built through intentional leadership, strong systems, and the willingness to ask for help. I'm Greg Copeland. I'm the founder of Reuben Allen and a sister company, Marshall Graham Consulting. Our mission is to support solo attorneys, small law firms, and with Reuben Allen in particular, minority and women owned law firms as they build sustainable, profitable, and impactful practices. Um, this is our Path Less Traveled series. And each episode, what we're going to do in this Path Less Traveled series is have honest conversations with leaders, builders, and problem solvers who have navigated the challenges of growth and discovered what it takes to move from simply practicing law to truly, truly building a business. Because we believe that no one succeeds alone, and every visionary needs that right hand. So, welcome to the show. Our next guest for today is Nicole Bluefort, and you will meet her right now. Hello and welcome, everyone. I am here with attorney Nicole M. Bluefort. Yeah, how are you doing today, Nicole?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. And she is our guest today. So I guess I wanted everybody to get to know Nicole and her journey and all the good things there. So if you could just start us off, just kind of describe your practice, your firm, where you're at, where you're located, what you practice.
Sure. My practice is law offices of Nicole and Bluefort. We are a general practice firm with three office locations. We started off in Lynn, where I was born and raised. As we gained momentum, opened up a second location in Boston. And 2 years ago, we opened up a practice in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Awesome. Awesome. So tell us about your journey to becoming an attorney. What motivated little Nicole? What clicked in? What made you want to pursue a career law?
I had an interesting journey. Many that look at me now and look at my pathway would say, she must have known from being a young girl that she wanted to do this, but I had no idea. I felt like I discovered this later in life. It was actually junior year of college. I went to Boston College undergrad, where I had been on the pre-med path, thinking I wanted to be a doctor. And decided that wasn't for me. And I ended up rooming with a couple of girls who were a part of BALSA. And for those that may not know that acronym, it's the Black Law Students Association, and they needed a treasurer. And I was there. I was their friend. I became the treasurer, and that introduced me to law. And long and behold, I didn't really take a look at some of the things I would do in my free time. I would literally, after classes, run back to my dorm to watch shows like Judge Judy, Judge Mathis. I was very inspired by Judge Mathis. If you know anything about his story, he changed his life and really empowered people in the community to kind of like almost gave them a second chance. And that was kind of my start to the introduction to law. And I took one law related class at BC. It loved it and decided I was going to go to law school. So that's how I got there. And then
Awesome.
in terms of starting my practice, I started because I was unemployed. It wasn't something that I planned on doing, just being honest. I worked for, after graduation, I worked for the Massachusetts Appeals Court for 2 years, was unemployed for three, and just kind of was just like, instead of waiting for an opportunity to be created for me, I'm going to create one for myself. And that birthed the law offices of Nicole and Bluefort.
Awesome. Awesome. So obviously we can see as a woman, as a minority attorney in the legal profession, what are some of the challenges that you feel are unique to your situation, as compared to all the others, and how did you overcome
Uh, so I think that there's sometimes a misconception about, our ability to be able to number one run a firm and maybe know the law and be able to represent a client. But clearly we all went to law school, just like anybody else to be a
them?
lawyer. We all gotta go through the rite of passageway, which is go to law school for 3 years if you went full time. You all got to pass the bar. So we all have those credentials. But I think oftentimes, not so much clients, but I would say our colleagues sometimes second guess our ability to be able to represent clients and do so, well. And so I think that would be a part of the struggles that come with being a minority woman in this profession. In terms of overcoming it, is being confident. You got to be confident in yourself. You got to know yourself. You got to know your ability and understand that people that feel that way, although at that time it can feel like there's many, there isn't really many, right? There's a lot of people that believe in you and that are willing to support you. You got to surround yourself with those kind of people. And whenever you do have struggles or you don't believe in yourself, those are the people that you turn to and say, "Hey, I'm having a bad day," and you get that sort of motivation. So I think in short, to kind of overcome these, pay attention to your network. Make sure within the network are very positive people, people that are, I'd say, that are doing what you're doing. So like when I started my own practice, I made sure I had people in my network that had started their own law firm. There was a mixture of people that were just starting theirs like me, but then there were some that been there and done that did it for 10 and 20 years. And that just gave me a lot more confidence when I felt like I was being tested about my knowledge and my ability to do things.
Now, did you have a business background at all? Did anybody in your family have their own business, or
Not at
you just
all.
learned it? You just learned it on the fly.
No, 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 no.
How
That's
did
something.
you kind of learn how to run a business?
God, well, in terms of my business background,
Mm.
my mom went to like business school, but she went to business school to be a secretary. So yeah, she didn't really go to college. I'm a first generation college student, and my father's from the Deep South, so he didn't have any thing more than an eighth grade education, to be honest. So he doesn't even have a high school diploma. So I had very humble beginnings. So no business background, but I think what I've learned from those humble beginnings is the ability to work hard without much. And I think I got that from my parents, you know? So, but in terms of just going forward, I make sure that I acquire those business skills. I don't think you don't need a business degree. I can tell you that. You don't need a business degree. You don't need anything like that. But, reaching out to someone like yourself, like a consultant, is extremely helpful to be able to tap into those skill sets because law school doesn't prepare you to be able to run a business. So being able to reach out to someone like yourself is very important. And when I started, how did I start? A combination of just winging it, and thankfully I've been successful winging it. But then, like I said, I had people in my network too that was running their own kind of practice. So I would just be willing to ask questions, and that's important as well because I didn't have the resources, at least at the beginning, to be able to maybe get somebody or what have you. So just being able to network and ask questions, and you'll find that people are very open to talking about their journey and their struggles.
Right. And in this, I guess, in the business side of it, not the practice side of what you
Yep.
do, what do you feel is the most difficult transition? Because again, I always say when we go to law school, they teach us how to practice law, not how to actually run a law,
Yeah.
how to actually run a law firm. What do you think the business side? What do you think is the most challenging part of the business?
On the business side is having an understanding that, yes, I guess at the beginning, because it's just you need to be the lawyer. You have to practice. Yeah, that's how you
Right.
be able to start, right? But then you have to set some time aside to work on your business. That is so important, and I think that was a lot of our early challenges at the beginning, and still even a challenge now that as you may know, I'm working on not being within the business itself as always operating as an employee. Yes,
Right.
again, you have to do that at the beginning because you can't afford to hire a secretary maybe at the beginning and attorneys, but you have to set some time either each week, every other week, every month, something to actually take a step back and look at the big picture. What's going on, understanding what your business is making, how is marketing working, what's working and what's not working. I wasn't doing any of that. I was just trying to make ends meet and I was just trying to make money, to be perfectly honest with you. And all that's all well and good, but then you also have to make sure you're paying attention to the big picture. What's going on with your business? Are you getting systems in place? Do you have operations? Are you are your employees making sense, the ones that you're choosing? Are you having somebody on that's not making sense? So these are all things that are extremely important.
Definitely, definitely. And since you said time and all that, um, work-life balance.
Yeah.
How are you with that? How do you it's a struggle for a lot of attorneys because we take it home.
Mhm.
You find yourself doing stuff late at night. How do you balance work life balance? See, I know something about you that others don't know that recently happened, and so how do you balance? How do you
Yeah.
balance?
Um, it's something that I can honestly say I still struggle with, but I've become better. And I would say that um over time where it's become better is where I have set boundaries. Um, I remember at the beginning, or not even really at the beginning, all the way up to maybe 8 years into the practice, I was literally working every day, long hours, holidays, and things like that. And then at some point I got tired, probably burnout. And do I regret that? I can't say totally regret that per se because I felt like it initially it's that grind at the beginning to get me to where I needed to be. Where now I have more attorneys that I don't have to put in that grind so much, right? So there's that balance there. So I'm not working, 7 days a week. I do a little bit of stuff on Saturdays and Sundays, but maybe it's a quick call. I'm better at vacations where I set that boundary where I'm not talking to staff as much, but I'm telling you, but in the past, I was all day long still on vacation making calls. So it's a combination of setting the boundaries. No matter what, there's always going to be work there. And I think over time, as I started to put systems and operations in place, it just organically became better that I felt okay with the business operating, on its own. I just had a daughter in November, and that pushed me to definitely say, hey, I got to put my daughter first. I have no choice. I got to spend that time, and she,
Right.
she deserves that time, especially being a first time mom. So that really has pushed me to be able to reduce my hours a little bit. And yeah, that's the work life balance. But you definitely got to pay attention to it because this is not a short term thing. That if you're looking to do this for the long term, you can't go out 7 days a week for very long. There's only so long you can do that for before you burn out and say I don't want to do this. I don't love what I'm doing. I'm still can say 15 years. I still very much, regardless of the hurdles, I love what I do, and that's because I have grown to find some balance in my life.
Awesome. And you know, I see you on LinkedIn, all your stuff, and I've seen how your firm has grown. I guess what advice would you give to an attorney who's building their firm on how to build that strong reputation that you have, that kind of, you know, what did you find most effective of growing your client base?
So in terms of just growing that strong reputation, um, it really depends upon you and your effort. When you have a firm, you can certainly hire someone. All that's all well and good, but at the end of the day, you have to do the work. You have to do the work yourself. So the strong reputation was built by number one, doing your best that you can for clients, doing right by them. They within themselves will go and tell somebody else, and they will go and tell somebody else, and they will go tell. So that was, first and foremost, a part of it. Then I think where a lot of are lacking is they may do that part, but they don't understand that there's this online thing as well. So there's like almost like an online reputation where you can tap into people that would not know you otherwise, like because you don't have it through your network. So it's
Right.
so important to have an online presence, and it's not just a post
Right.
once here and once there. It's consistently every day, right? And don't worry about the likes. Don't worry about the comments because oftentimes I don't get no likes or comments. But better believe someone's seeing it. Someone is seeing
No,
it,
definitely,
whether it's
definitely.
one person that day or two people. And they're gonna and the thing with the reputation and the consistency is that when they do need somebody, you're gonna be top of mind because you've always been posting. So I use, from Facebook to we're on LinkedIn, we're on Instagram. I still do it actually now. I get out into the community and I don't charge people to do seminars because I like to give back to the community. But at the end of the day, it helps to expand the brand, expand the reputation. And that helps me to tap into, build that reputation and tap into different networks from churches I spoke with years ago. I remember I got somebody just yesterday from a church that I spoke with 4 or 5 years ago, and they were telling this other person that wasn't even there. So you got to just be creative, get out there. I know that some people are not can be timid and shy and don't want to do those type of things, but you have to get comfortable, with that, and really be able to. It makes the difference between someone that's gonna respectfully remain a solo practitioner to someone that's actually gonna grow. Is someone that can get out there and aggressively network and get online and expand their presence that way too.
And last question, um, as a role model for other aspiring minority and women attorneys, I guess what advice would you give them? One, going into law, and two, starting a law firm and advancing in their legal careers.
Going into law, um, there's not many of us, right? And for right now, until we can figure out how to improve that, and I think people are out there doing different things, pipelines into law schools. People are trying to put in the effort. There needs to be more effort, but it's going to take time. But realistically, there's not a lot of us, and there's not going to be a lot of us for a while. And you got to be comfortable with that because you're going to be
Right.
in rooms, you're going to be in classrooms, you're going to be in courtrooms, you're going to be. I just opened up an office in New Hampshire, and I just attended an annual meeting, and I was the only. Forget about just being the only African American. I was the only person of color
Yeah.
in that room, and there was probably 200 to 300 people there, and probably 15 years ago, I would have been uncomfortable with that and maybe said, I don't want to go. But I felt proud to sit in that room and said, you know what? Hey, maybe I'll be the first one, right?
Right.
They're going to see, but I'm going to bring more people with me. So just being comfortable with that and bringing others with you is going to be important because they need us. I can't tell you enough how many people, when as I was either going through law school, started my own practice, that said, I'm so happy that I have found a woman-owned, a black-owned firm, someone that looks like me, because they feel like you understand them. So that's what I would say about that. And then you said your second question was advice about kind of helping to advance the career and
Your
starting the
career.
journey.
Right.
Um, just I can't say enough. Your support network is everything because this journey in law and also second to that is starting your own law firm can be lonely because again there's not many of us, and if you could put yourself around other people, and it doesn't even have to be around other people of color, just people in general that are in your field that can be your support system, is great. I have different memberships in different bar associations, and that helps because sometimes when I talk to my friends, they don't understand. When I want to talk about my day, they don't really understand it
Right.
because they're not a lawyer. But when I get into those circles, they understand because they're either at law firms or they have their own practice. I'm very active with like organizations like the Massachusetts Black Women Attorneys Association. So within that, it's great to be around other women, Black women like myself, that encourage each other. Great for referrals and things like that. Or it's just getting yourself some mentors too, that I've had for a very very long time. I can't underestimate the power of just a good mentor. Um, I gotta also end with this. Some Obviously, if you went to law school, you graduated, passed the bar, you are successful. It's important to be humble enough to know when you don't know something as well. Sometimes you can be successful, and I've been successful so far, but I know when I don't know something,
Right.
and I'm gonna ask some questions because I don't know because it's other people that know a lot more than you, and it's gonna help you go much more further in your career. So it goes back to asking questions and being humble enough to say I don't know or I'm not good at something, and that's okay too because we ain't gonna be good at everything. So it's better to tap into to other people that might be able to help you and support you.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining us today, Nicole. It was a pleasure.
Thank
And
you for having me.
everyone, we will talk later. Bye. I wanted to thank Nicole once again for joining us. Thank you for joining us on this podcast. Remember, building a successful law firm isn't about doing more. It's about building the people, the systems, the structure, all of that that allows you to do what matters most And until next time, this is Greg Copeland, and you've been listening to the Right Hand Podcast. Thank you.